Greetings once again, welcome back, even though this is a tutorial, so I'll say welcome back to the channel this time. And yes, as requested, or as I was asked about, I actually want to see how I actually did record Onimusha 2 back in the Onimusha 3, way back when. So yes, this is how I did it. Actually, it's a little more than that. I'm actually going to go through the emulator settings as well. Let me just put it up to the top and you can... Oh, fine. Be awkward. Sorry, last time that would sit at the top for me nice and neatly, but oh well. Yes, configuration first. This is PCSX2, as stated before. This is my PlayStation 2 emulator that I use to actually do all my recording for PlayStation 2 games. First things first is configuration video. I'm going to go to here. I enable the speed hacks. Originally they come disabled. So I enable it, and then I also, this one is normally disabled as well. Only activate this if you have a multi-core thread. So yes, 3+ cores. And yeah, you'll get a hell of a lot of speed from that. And if I go up, I've got 8 logical threads. Does it actually say there? No, it doesn't actually say how many cores I've got. But I believe I have a quad core. So that's perfectly fine. And then the next one is plugin settings. Here is where you actually choose what you want. In the older version, when I was actually doing Onimusha 3, I'll get it right eventually, I used this one here, Blend TTF, and then I also ran a 3x native with texture filtering on. As you can see, there is a lot more features now. This auto didn't exist before, because this is a newer version of the emulator. I believe there's an even newer version out now on the SVN, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, I set this to auto, so it automatically just chooses the best for me. If I normally use DirectX 11, but sometimes I do have to use OpenGL, just in case the rendering doesn't work that well or something looks that little bit off. But yeah, so most of the time I will just leave it on DirectX. It's just easier, DX11. And that's basically it. Haven't really changed much. There we go. My talking seems to have gone out the window for some strange, odd reason. Not much I can do, but oh well. And now I'm changing my voice. Okay, stop it. Talk normally. This is completely serious and not a joke. Okay. Now you know the settings for this. You just play the game in full screen 1080p. Did I actually show that one? No, it isn't actually there. But yeah, I play in full screen 1080p. Or 1920 1080 on this monitor, to be precise. And now we're done with you, so we don't need you. I'll leave you there though. This is the software I use to record Onimusha. I did used to use Fraps for recording, but I didn't like it personally. It was just the separate files really bugged me. And yes, now I know that Fraps, I believe, has been updated and it's all in one file if you want it, but my response is now I have my capture card. It does everything better in my opinion. Or not overly better, but it can be much better. Because I can do console and I can do everything with it. It's not hassle. I just push the big red button that's on my desk. But yeah, I may actually go back to Fraps now. It can actually do it all into one file at some point, just to see if they've improved it, because I got slowed down till the end of time and it really bugged me. I couldn't actually play PCSX2 at the full speed, is why even now, if I go back to this, where it says this 3, the only reason I have it so low is because of Fraps. Sometimes for some games I would even actually have to go custom and put it in here, because the native I believe is like 500 by something. I really can't remember. Well, it's really small, say about half that size. There you go, there's a rough idea. But yeah, that's the reason why I run this on native 3, when I can actually play games if I'm not recording on native 5, and I can record perfectly fine on native 4. Now, I do get a little slowdown with native 5, times 5, but I just don't want to risk it. The game does play perfectly fine, but there's few little spots where it slows down and it just bugs me. So I just stick to native 3 because then I really don't get any problems at all. But yes, enough of you. Now back to this one. With recording, pure and simple, record to a separate hard drive. It will help you so much because you do not want one hard drive reading data and writing data. Because with this, it reads the disk or it reads the ISO, because I make an ISO file of the games I have just to make it run faster, because it's easier to read off a hard drive than it is to read off a disk, I believe. So all my software and the game are based on C, so I record to my separate hard drive that is H into my folder where all my recordings go normally, but I normally have separate folders now. This is very old. For the actual settings of quality, so on and so forth, I use the standard DXTORY video codec. If you want one that comes out with smaller file sizes and not too bad, go for this one. And all you have to do for this is single pass lossless, and just personally when I did it on very fast or faster. But if you just want a good quality, small file size and everything else, just leave it on ultra fast or super fast. You can just use those settings if you don't want to use the DXTORY. This can come out better, but I just preferred the DXTORY one personally. That's just me. I don't change any of this because I don't do clipping. I don't scale the video like to half the size. You can even scale it to a particular size. So say I'm playing in 1080, it will scale the video down to 1280, 720. Sorry about that, my voice has just gone really, really dry. Nah, I need a drink. And for... yeah, this is one extra bit I do personally. Oh, yep, frame rate of 30 seconds before I go off and talk about this output. I record at 30 frames per second. Yes, it'd possibly be better to record at 60, but I've always done it at 30 because that's what I render out at in the end for YouTube. I don't know if having, say, 60 frames is better than 30 frames and whatnot. If it is, please tell me, because I would love to know that if it's actually better or worse quality, depending on the number of frames you get, because then if I do get more better looking stuff at 60 frames a second, I will go for the 60 frames a second, because I have a thing for quality. I will sit here for days at a time trying to get it right through meticulous settings, recordings and other stuff. But yes, and so yeah, I just keep that at 30 because that's what I know is work, and that's what I put out at the end in Sony Vegas, as you can see back here, that we'll get to after this. And this is the one other thing I do, as I'm doing file output, I don't use direct show output. Direct show is if you're trying to stream it or something, and it'll go out to something you can put into XSplit. It'll come up as a camera and you can just select it and it all works perfectly fine, hunky-dory, if you want to be able to play a game in windowed mode without actually seeing the window or something like that. Because this only, I believe DXTORY only hooks onto DirectX or OpenGL Windows, so it's the thing of you can't do your desktop on it. You like you can with Fraps and other stuff. So yeah, this is literally just for games only. And all I do here personally is I'm going to a file. Instead of going to AVI format, I actually go to raw cap, meaning it doesn't fully convert the file. It takes the raw data and just puts it into a file, meaning I can actually do the actual conversion afterwards, meaning it uses less power on the computer while I'm recording. So when you do that, if you use this, you'll end up with an AVI file you can put into anything. If you have raw cap, you need to hit this here, raw cap conversion. Click it, this window will appear, and for every video you record should automatically appear in here. If it doesn't, go to the add button and just add the raw capture file. It'll be where you saved it here. And then all you do is say select your file, and you can just go build selected files if you've selected more than one, or you can just go build all and it'll output them to wherever you tell it. If you go into settings, see here that I have it set on my desktop at the moment, and yeah, that'll just put the file out to my desktop and whatnot, because as these go on to H, I'll then end up putting them on C somewhere. Desktop is just normally easier to dump the files and then I move them to where I want. I make things harder for myself, yes, I know. And that's really about it with DXTORY. Just, oh no, the actual codec itself with the one I use. There we go. Completely forgot to do that. I actually record on the lowest possible settings, personally, because I find it annoying, personally, because recording on any other immensely drops the frames when I'm recording. And it's like, I hate you, game, I hate you, basically, because this uses so much power. You could say it's exponential as it goes up and whatnot. So say this uses X amount, this will use X2, X3, and whatnot amount of power. Sorry if I'm going a bit too mathematical for you there. But yes, you can also compress your video if you really want to. It will end up using a little more power, but you will end up with smaller files. But yeah, that's everything about DXTORY. And now for the rendering itself. As you can see, this is actually a previous version of this exact same video. This is the third time I've done this video now, because I'm not happy with it every time. I don't sound happy. For some strange odd reason, my voice is that dry. I just keep sounding miserable, in my personal opinion, when I play this thing. But yes, simple enough. You put your video in, project settings, these are what I set mine to. If you really wish to see. My one response is, do not give a flying damn about this. I have done so many tests. In my personal opinion, this makes no difference to a video going up on YouTube. I can see no clear difference to the color whatsoever with this. But there is one major problem with it. The amount of rendering time more than doubles if I go up to one of these from 8-bit. So my best bet to you is literally just stay at 8-bit. There is no reason to go to anything else. And deinterlace method, mine's all progressive scan, so I don't really need to worry about that. And all this is just left the same. Full resolution, rendering quality, best. Of course, you always want the best. You can lower this. It does make a difference, but you can end up with better footage. Or actually you'll end up with worse footage, but it'll be less size. If you want, say, an example of this, is if you go for this window here. Let me just make it a little bigger. Because as you can see, I'm on best and then full of what this would actually come out to. So I went to preview and full and whatnot. It does make a little bit of a difference. And then good, does that actually... You can't actually see much of a difference at the moment. Yeah, best, full. There we go, and then you got draft, full. There you go, you can see the difference there. That's draft, that's best. It just gives you better quality. Not really much else for me to say apart from the last thing is, let me just select a region, there we go, that'll do. The way I have mine set up is it will render this yellow region here, my region loop. So I always just go like that and actually record the areas that I want, basically. Saves me doing, or say if I just wanted this little bit here for a test, I can just record that little bit for a test, or render it, sorry, not record. And yes, and the final bit is this one here, render as. When it comes to templates, I use main concept, AVC, AAC. I've sat here for days basically doing tests between the two of this one and this one. There is, in my personal opinion, a visible difference and whatnot, but the amount of time this takes to render to this is very different. So say a 20-second piece of footage here will take me 30 or 40 seconds to render. With this, it will take me about, say, 10 to 15 seconds and whatnot. This one, the most I've got it to go is a 1-to-1 ratio, so a 20-second clip will take me 20 seconds to render, but this is generally renders faster with my computer under the time of the video, and this one will normally render over the amount of time of the video. But this one can give you better quality, because I've rendered in M2TS with this one, the Fear 3 walkthrough from the Xbox 360 was rendered using this settings right here, if you want to know these particular settings. And in my personal opinion, this actually came out better, in my opinion. But the thing is, the video is such a large file size compared to, say, this one. Between the two, there isn't, when it actually goes up on YouTube, you can't really see that much of a difference and whatnot. There is a difference if you can sit there and study it between them and whatnot, where you have, say, the exact same 10 seconds up on YouTube rendered in different ways that I've done before and whatnot with private videos, and you can see little bits of difference. Like this one would be, you could say, a little crisper to a degree, and then this one would be a tiny bit fuzzier and whatnot. Or actually, this one would be, because this is the one I tested it with. That's this here. Is that the right one? Yeah, that is the one. But I spend the little extra time when rendering to render at these settings. I put the deblocking filter up as high as I know it'll go from what I've read and whatnot. I do not use 2pass because all I can see is it lowers the file size, and I'd rather not double the render time just to get a few meg off the end of my video and whatnot. I'm happy to wait that extra 5-10 minutes when rendering instead of anything up to like 20-30 minutes when I'm actually rendering the damn thing. But that's just me personally, and these are the settings I use for everything now. These are the settings that are going to be used on Kingdom Hearts and Onimusha 4. I've already said about these two games. They're the next two games that I plan on doing and whatnot. They're the games that are coming out after Fear 3 and Catherine and whatnot. So once those two are out of the way, I'm starting Kingdom Hearts and Onimusha 4. Yes, this isn't really a spoiler video because I accidentally said it in one of my dailies without meaning to. But yeah. So everything here you can see perfectly fine. Is there anything else I need to show you? Audio is not turned all the way up. If you actually want to see the exact settings I used for, I believe it was you. Hold on a minute. One of these says, here we go. If the video is in 1080p, PS2 footage on Onimusha, I can't remember if I did it in 720 or 1080 right now. This would have been the settings used. Yeah, I just changed that. I'd written the number in. I could just click the box instead. But yeah, it was either this one that was used, these settings here, if it was a 1080p video, or if it was 720, it was this one. Yes, I used lesser quality when it was 720 size-wise compared to this that's just huge. Actually, have I got the same one, or am I actually doing the wrong thing here? No, it's perfectly fine. Yeah. But yeah, that's everything basically. If you have Sony Vegas 10, these two templates you can actually transfer across. If you're using Sony Vegas 11, I would recommend this template because you do get the enable progressive download, and you've got render with GPU if available, if your card accepts it. Mine does, and it helps a lot personally. So yeah, I believe that's everything. I have no need to actually render a video. Actually, I'll just show you. I don't actually have to finish it. As you can see, I'm down the bottom right corner. I'm selecting exactly 1 minute of footage. There we go, as you can see down here. And if I go File, Render As, using this settings, I'll just whack it on the desktop, not fussed where. Render. And yeah, this is 1 minute's worth of footage. As you can see, it's going to take about no more than 30 seconds to finish that and whatnot, not even 40 seconds. So yeah, those settings render you quite fast and you get very good quality. These are the settings used on Catherine. Fear 3, as I said, used the M2TS as a test, but it's the thing of I rendered the entirety of Fear 3 like that, so I just left it like that. I was lazy. It looked perfectly fine. It just takes a little longer to upload. That's the only thing. It bugs me, but not much I can do. So yes, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If there are any more questions you have, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or there is the email address that will be in the description below. You can feel free to send questions there. And yes, anything else, contact me. And if not, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.